All right. So today we're talking about writing equations of parallel and perpendicular lines. So looking down here at the core concept, two lines in the same plane that never intersect are parallel lines. You've probably heard of that before. Two distinct non-vertical lines are parallel. This is the important part. Lines are parallel if and only if they have the same slope. So it says like two non-vertical lines, but any lines that are vertical are all parallel to each other, right? But they don't have a slope. The slope is undefined for vertical lines. So they had to like kind of make that exclusion there because vertical lines don't have slopes. So non-vertical lines are parallel if and only if they have the same slope. That's the big key there. Parallel lines have the same slope. So then we figure out which of these are parallel by finding the slope of each one. So for this first one, we could find the slope. If I just say x1, y1, x2, y2, then I can use my slope formula, right? y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1 is the slope. So y2 minus y1, that would be 2 minus 3. X2 minus x1 will be 1 minus negative 4. 2 minus 3 is negative 1. And then 1 minus negative 4 is 1 plus 4, which is 5. So the slope of the blue line is negative 1/5. Let's check the slope of the red line. So I'll do x1, y1, x2, y2. And I can I'll eyeball the formula up here as I'm plugging in, so I don't have to rewrite that again. Y2 minus y1, that's going to be negative 1 minus 0. X2 minus x1 will be 1 minus negative 3. Negative 1 minus 0 is negative 1. 1 minus negative 3 is 1 plus 3, so that's 4. So the red line has a slope of negative 1/4. And then let's find the slope of the green line. If we say x1, y1, x2, y2, then y2 minus y1 will be negative 5 minus negative 4. And x2 minus x1 would be 2 minus negative 3. Okay, so subtracting a negative is positive. So this is going to be negative 5 plus 4. And this is going to be 2 plus 3. Negative 5 plus 4 is negative 1. And 2 plus 3 is 5. So our slope here is negative 1/5. So which of the lines are parallel? A and C have the same slope. So I'm going to change colors. Lines A and C are parallel. Because they both have the same slope of negative 1/5. All right. Write an equation of line that passes through 5, negative 4, and is parallel to the line y equals 2x plus 3. Well, to write the equation of the line, we need one way to do it is with a point and a slope. So here they give us a point. This is the point they give us. And then they tell us that the line is parallel to this line, y equals 2x plus 3. Well, y equals 2x plus 3 is in slope-intercept form. So this is in y equals mx plus b format. So in this format, we can see that the slope of this line is 2. So if we want to be parallel to this line, then we would just use the same slope. Right? Because parallel lines have the same slope. So we want to write the equation of a line that has the point 5, -4 and the slope m equals 2. So we got a point and a slope, we can figure out the equation, right? And we can use either point slope form or we can use slope intercept form and solve for b. I'll use the slope intercept form on this one. So I'm going to start with, so we'll call this what, x1 and y1. And then I'm going to be like, all right, y equals mx plus b. Right now we need to solve for b. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in the slope and I'm going to plug in x1 and y1 to solve for b. So y1 is -4, m is 2, x1 is 5. 2 times 5 is 10, so we get -4 equals 10 plus b. Then we will, to get b by itself, subtract 10 from each side. And we get -14 equals b. So our slope is 2, our y-intercept is -14. So the equation of the line that goes through this point and is parallel to that one is y equals 2x minus 14. Okay, perpendicular lines have slopes that are opposite reciprocals. Two lines in the same plane that intersect to form right angles are perpendicular lines. Non-vertical lines are perpendicular if and only if their slopes are negative reciprocals. So the negative means it has the opposite sign. Reciprocal means like flipping over a fraction, right? A over B, the reciprocal would be B over A. So that when you multiply them, they equal 1. But if they're opposite signs and we multiply them, they're going to equal -1. So one way to check is if these lines are perpendicular is if you multiply their slopes, it should equal -1. Okay, so the slopes are opposite signs and they are reciprocals. So which of any of these lines are parallel or perpendicular? Well, what we need to do is we need to find the slope of each line and then see if they have the same slope, they're parallel. If they have opposite reciprocal slopes, then they're perpendicular. And if it's not either one of those, then they're not parallel or perpendicular. So for the first one, line A, this is in slope intercept form. So we can see the slope right here, m equals 4. Line B is, we need to put that into slope intercept form. So we could just need to get the y by itself. So subtract x from both sides. And then we would have 4y equals -x plus 3. That's supposed to be a y. Then divide by 4 to get y by itself. So divide everybody by 4. And we're going to get y equals negative 1/4 x plus 3/4. So our slope here is negative 1/4. So we just got this into slope-intercept form so we could pick the slope, so that we could easily find the slope. So the first one, the slope was 4. Second one, the slope is negative 1/4. Those are opposite signs and they're reciprocals. So I know right now I can say that line A is perpendicular to line B because they have opposite reciprocal slopes. Now I just need to find the slope of this last one. So I'm going to get y by itself again. So I have a minus 2x, so I'm going to add 2x to both sides. So then I have negative 8y equals 2x plus 16. Then I need to divide everybody by negative 8. And I'm going to get y equals, so 2 over negative 8, that'll actually reduce to negative 1/4. 16 divided by negative 8 is negative 2. So this one has a slope of negative 1/4. So that means that line B has the same slope as line C. So line B is parallel to line C. So line A is perpendicular to line B and line C because line B and C are parallel. So line B is parallel to line C, and that's pretty much it. So B and C are parallel to each other, and line A is perpendicular to both of them. Okay, so now here's the last example for this lesson. Write an equation of a line that passes through negative 3, 1. So this is our x1, y1. And is perpendicular to the line 1/2 x plus 3. Y equals 1/2 x plus 3. Well, for this line, the slope is 1/2. So the slope that we want to use for the other line, the line that we're trying to write the equation for, it needs to be the opposite and the reciprocal. So this is a positive slope, so this slope has to be negative. This one is 1 over 2, so this one we need to flip it over 2 over 1. The 2 over 1 is just 2. So our slope is going to be negative 2. So the only reason they gave us this information was so that we could find the slope we're going to use for this line. Because the line that we want to write is going to be perpendicular to this. That's why we took the opposite reciprocal slope. Now we just need to plug in and find out. And I'll use, since I did the slope-intercept version last time, I'll do the point-slope version this time. So point-slope equation is y minus y1 equals m, that's a pretty m, times x minus x1. So I'm just going to plug in. Y minus y1 is 1 equals m, which is negative 2, times x minus negative 3 is x1. So minus negative 3 is plus 3. So then I can distribute the negative 2, and then get y minus 1 equals negative 2x. Negative 2 times 3, that'll be minus 6. Then to get y by itself, I can just add 1 to both sides, and I get y equals negative 2x minus 5.